Good morning. Good to have you with us again. This is Idea Morning Digest here on Idea Television, your trusted companion for news, insights, forward-thinking conversations that shape our world and our continent, Africa. Whether you're just waking up or already on the move, we are here to bring you clarity to the stories that matter. So we begin today with so many issues shaping like I said before, the African continent, so many new policies, economic shifts, so breakthroughs in science, education, technology, entrepreneurship, research, and development. My name is Cynthia Bassi, and I'm good to be here again. And of course, I am not alone because I am here with Deborah.
Yes, Deborah.
Yes, Deborah, how are you doing this morning?
I'm very fine. You look good, by the way.
Thank you.
You're always looking good.
Oh, wow.
You make me feel like I should up my game.
Wow, that's good. That's good to hear. Like, what I was expecting to hear is melanin popping. I guess I'm used to that already.
Yes.
So it's as if it's not a thing for me. But yes, of course, we are taking you to the process of innovation today. But we want to hear from you. Share your thoughts, share your questions, share your ideas, whatever you want to know with us at Idea Television, to all our social media platforms, and of course via email at Idea Television Limited. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll keep you up to speed with the news headlines. Don't go nowhere. Thanks for staying with us. Now, let's dive into today's biggest stories from Nigeria and beyond. We'll start with today's first headlines. So, over 90% of Nigerians still uninsured. Healthcare providers warn. Over 90% of Nigerians remain without health insurance, according to the Healthcare Providers Association of Nigeria. As its mid-year general meeting in Lagos, the association warned that the country is far from achieving universal health coverage, despite over 2 decades of government-led insurance initiatives. The Lagos State Chairman Abiola Paul Ozie described the situation as unacceptable and called for visible leadership, transparency, and stronger policy implementation from the National Health Insurance Authority and all levels of government. National President Dr. Austin Ipoh noted that although the NHIA Act mandates compulsory coverage, enforcement remains weak, leaving many Nigerians disillusioned. With over 80% of Nigeria's workforce in the informal sector, as experts like Dr. Kalada Richard are calling for community-based insurance models and targeted subsidies to close the coverage gap. Dr. Anthony Omolola and St. Rachel Hospital added that poor service delivery continues to erode public trust, stressing the need for greater transparency and value in the system. So, Deborah, over 90% of Nigerians remain uninsured, and that is a staggering figure if we look at it, and it's alarming too, because for a nation that has been talking about, I've been hearing the National Health Insurance. It started with the before it became NHIA, it was NHIS, that's National Health Insurance Scheme. Growing up, that's what I know, and this is like over 2 decades now, and we are still talking about people not being fully insured. I'm not even saying fully insured. Some people do not even know how to go about it, do not even know if the National Health Insurance Scheme exists. What this tells us is that the health sector in Nigeria has largely become like a theoretical ambition, not a practical reality. We just say things, we don't do.
Yeah.
It's just, we don't practicalize things, because when you bring out something like this for people to do, you must ensure you put out measures in place, create awareness, let people understand how to go about it. How am I going to get registered for it? How long does it last? How long does it last for me to renew again? So we need to understand all of these things. And let's be clear, this is not just about the statistics. It means that nearly 200 million Nigerians are paying for health care out of their pockets,
Yeah.
which is not really good. In advanced country, let me use the word developed countries rather instead of advanced. In developed countries, people do not pay for health from their pockets. They have insurance to almost everything. Every aspect of livelihood, there is insurance for it. Why in this part of the world we are struggling for everything? We do not earn enough, but yet everything is still coming out from our pockets to eat, to pay all our bills. Nothing is insured for, and then we are even talking about health that should even be covered for us. Let's know that, okay, health is wealth, like they say it. We need to, cover for those ones and just help people to mitigate poverty to an extent. I mean, it's really catastrophic to me. It's sad that many households in Nigeria, especially in a country like ours where poverty is looming every day. It's not a new story. Even if they say Nigerians are resilient, we try to look for a way to do things. We try to find our way when there is no way. But a single emergency strategy cannot even save our lives. Yes, we have to look for other means. If the NHIA is not working, let's look for other insurance coverage. I don't know if you have something to say.
This situation, but just reflects how serious failure has fallen upon the Nigerian health care sector. And when I was reading this particular news, things I could notice, like you said, is poor enforcement. Yes, NHIS Act mandates the coverage, but no one is seriously actually enforcing this particular thing. It's one thing to say things, another thing to do it. Apart from even doing it, I think we keep saying it on this station that apart from doing it, how sustainable is this thing? Will we hear it for 1 year, and after 1 year we will not hear it again? It ends there. Another thing is lack of trust. Most people don't even believe in the healthcare sector of Nigeria. Now let me give you an example. When you're as a student, when you're entering the university, we have something they call the school sick bay. Now you have to pay a small amount of money for that sick bay so that you can have the receipt whenever you're sick. You can go there. Most students pay for this thing and they don't visit it. They don't even visit. It's not because of maybe they didn't get the opportunity. The opportunity is wide open, but because of they believe that the drugs they will give them, and the truth is that whether you like it or not, if we actually look into it, if you go there, I've seen situations where you go to the school base and you're having malaria and they will not test you for these things. At least I think the thing that the school base is supposed to do is at least test you, so that if in case they don't have the drugs, they can prescribe it for you to go out. And we have medical doctors in those kind of schools, and yet you'll be seeing treatments like
they stated poor service delivery is a very serious issue here. Lack of that trust you mentioned. We do not believe in the system again. What is the system going to do for me? Even if I pay, I have an insurance an insurance in health. I do not really feel covered, because I'll still be asked, just like you said, to pay for bed space. I will still be asked to. You will go to the hospital and then they will tell you that the drugs are not available. They will write it for you. You have to go and get it, and they'll be directing you to the pharmacy you will go to. Go to so pharmacy, and you'll be hearing that this pharmacy name sounds like somebody's name there that you are talking to. So I don't know, that bureaucracy too in this health sector too have driven many of us and abandoned us in nowhere. So I just feel like we should do better with all of these things.
I want to even go
insurance should be premium.
I want to even go before beyond insurance being premium. Now, I feel like NHIS is tied to some jobs. Now, what of people who do not work in those jobs? Nigerians who, like you said, poverty. If you notice, if it's when it comes to employment issue in Nigeria,
That's why I'm even telling you that even those that have it, I have NHIS. That was when it was still NHIS growing up. But how many times have I used it? Okay, I used it in but how many times? Okay, serving now as a copper, you are being told that you can use the insurance scheme. If you go to the health insurance scheme, if you go to the hospital, you are able to access, general hospitals, public hospitals. You are able to access it anywhere you go. But have you talked about the long hours you are going to sit and wait? Have you talked about not being? Sometimes I'm going to the hospital not just because of I cannot go to one private hospital that will, attend to me fast. But it's because there is not enough money. So where do I get the money to buy drugs? That's another thing. You pay for you have NHIS, you are covered for it, but you are not covered for drugs. You are not sure if you are going to get drugs if you even visit the hospital. If you are very sick and you have an emergency, you are not even sure if you will get bed space. So these are all the things we're talking about. But let's stop here and just pretend that we are going to make progress. Because we have been hitting on all of this matter for a very long time. But with talks like this, we are far behind, and we just hope that this helps us make progress going further. So to the next news, flash floods disrupt Lagos and paralyze businesses. Business activities were brought to a halt in Lagos following hours of torrential rainfall that led to flash floods and traffic gridlock across the state. The downpour, which began around midnight and continued into Monday morning, submerged major roads and homes on both the island and mainland. Commuters were left stranded while several vehicles broke down in flood waters, particularly around Ikorodu, Oworonshoki, Ikotun and Igondo. Residents in low-lying areas like Gberegbe have again raised concerns, saying repeated complaints to authorities have gone unanswered. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency had earlier warned of possible flash floods across Lagos and several southern states. In response, the Lagos State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, urged calm and advised residents in flood-prone zones to move upland. He warned against walking on driving through flooded areas and disposing of refuse in drains, stressing the increased risks due to Lagos coastal geographical and rising lagoon levels. The government says year-round drainage maintenance is ongoing and calls for heightened vigilance, especially with children home during the holiday period. Yes, once again, Lagos is submerged. This has been on the news, the whole flood, not just even the flood issue, the whole talk about Lagos and environment. Since the beginning of this year, it's like it's the talk of Lagos. Anytime you see Lagos in the discourse, it's always about environment. It's always about, all of these insane environmental challenges rather. And so the story still remains the same. Businesses are standstill now. Homes are flooded. And you can remember what year was that when Lagos was flooded? Just a few years back. Was it 2 years back when Lagos was seriously flooded? Mostly the islands. But this time around, it has now moved to the mainland as well. Before, people were saying, the mainland, thank God, at least it won't get. But now, it is reaching the mainland because of poor drainage systems, because of lack of proper care and maintenance for our environment. And we're in a time where we are talking about climate change. A lot of people may think climate change is just a trend. Climate issues are just talk. This is the time for it, so everybody is using it to cash out. But no, these are serious environmental issues. Climate change is a very serious environmental issue. Let's talk even about our health. All of these things can be deteriorating to our health. And now we are seeing business being halted. A whole lot of things is put to a hold, and very soon children are going to go back to school. How are they going to go to school? So this is not good at all. Some might say, I just think Lagos should do well. They have been doing well. They have been trying to, do well with urban management and all of those things. But I think they should, think it through very well and see how they can look into urban mismanagement. Let's not talk how of when it has happened, how we are going to, now curb the situation, cater for problems, prevent issues. Let's talk about before these things happened. Lagos is not the only state. Lagos is not the only place in this world surrounded by waters. There are so many cities in the world that are surrounded by waters. But why is it that every time, just look at how dirty and how unkept, you can tell that this is human factor. All of these causes are human factor, you can tell. So you allow people build anyhow, you allow people fill up wetlands. I'm even complaining of the one here in Ube where there's landfill. You see, all of the dams have created serious landfill. That land is not even breathing again. It's not breathing and it's deteriorating to our health. So I think we shouldn't act surprised to this. Nobody is going to act surprised to this, especially in Lagos. It's nobody should act surprised. The government should do proper drainage maintenance. Well, it's ongoing now, but they should see that this follows through. This carries on for long.
Lagos needs more of it. Now, the reason why is because where Lagos is placed geographically is a place where when rain pours, in fact, when rain has stopped in some states in Nigeria, you will still hear rainfall in those particular, in this Lagos are like others, because Lagos is not the only state that actually faces this, but Lagos is on the high distance because of its geographical position. So this is something we cannot avoid. We should always know that when it comes to this season of raining, this raining season, these kind of things will happen. Yes. You can't stop rain from falling. The only thing you can do is try to avoid the flooding. And like you said, we have to put down policies that can actually, not that we would start. We are tired of seeing it on the newspaper. Acting already,
but let's not always wait for it to happen.
Thank you very much. We should start preparing for, because we know that this season is how it is in Lagos. Because you said this year, it's beyond this year. Every year,
yes, in 2017,
even if you don't hear flood in any other state in Nigeria, you will hear flood in Lagos. So they should. In fact, I used to usually imagine it in my mind. I've been to Lagos once. I was opportune to go to Lagos to visit someone, and when I visited, in fact, when I saw, he said, this one is a normal thing. Just fold your clothes. People are going to work. You fold your trouser up, and you walk inside. Me myself, I can't even imagine walking inside dirty water, and I had to walk inside dirty water. I said, what if there's something inside that water? And you see people doing businesses, food businesses in that kind of dirty water. I'm like, how do you people really? This opens them to so many outbreak of diseases. It opens them to so many outbreak of diseases, and it's not nice. The government really need to look at it, and it's beyond just the flooding that you are seeing.
Yes,
health wise is not this is not nice.
That's
when it comes to transportation, this is not a good thing to speak of. And Lagos being one of the states with most of the industries in Nigeria, populated with industries and all of that, I feel like Lagos should be one of the states that's supposed to be looking at this issue.
It's very bad. I think it's high time we began to look at these cases. As a disaster, as it's not a natural disaster again. It's not a natural occurrence. It's a disaster that is caused out of lack of proper planning. If not, we'll keep seeing these movies, because like a movie for me every rainy season. Of course, we'll keep seeing these movies. So let's move to the next news, and this one is a very refreshing news for me, because UK supports Nigeria's varsity curriculum reform. The United Kingdom is backing a major overhaul of Nigeria's university curriculum aimed at integrating entrepreneurship, circular economy, and peace building into higher education. The initiative, funded by the British Council, features Ekiti State University and Babcock University as pilot institutions. It is led by Dr. Olushola Kolawole of the University of Bradford, who says the project will help equip young Nigerians with the skills to build resilient economies and promote peace. A workshop held recently in Lagos brought together scholars and curriculum experts to chart a new academic path rooted in sustainability and global relevance. The universities are expected to receive textbooks and resources to support teaching and research with a new academic publication in development. The project also seeks to internationalize Nigeria's higher education through cross-border collaboration. So like I started off with saying, this is a very refreshing news for me because it's not just about that the UK, the support that is coming from the UK, that's not what I'm saying, but it's a good one. But I'm saying that it is time that we integrate, another form, alternative learning systems. For so long, we have carried through with stale curricula. Yes, there's this video that trended online where a student was filming. Students and the whole social media craze these days. A student was filming when the teacher was teaching. So he was showing their learning materials. And these learning materials was as old, this is no shade, was as old as the man. Like, it was since when he was probably in the university, what he was being taught with was what he still uses to teach. That thing connotes two things. First of all, it shows that they are not even checking what goes on in the educational system. They are not even checking what is new. Like, the educational system, they are not even checking. The school itself, they are not even checking what is going on. It seems like every teacher you can teach with your own style, acceptable, but you cannot just teach with a material that is approved by you. Materials needs to be approved by the National Universities Commission. Materials must be, if it's secondary schools, by the National Union of Teachers also. Whatever association guides them, but it should be approved by UBEP if it's in secondary school. If it's in the university, it needs to be approved by the National Union Universities Commission. If it is not approved by them and a teacher is using a learning aid that comes from themselves, then that is very wrong. I think our educational system needs to be checked. Our education system needs to be, modernized. We have to modernize it. One thing we fail to do is that time is going, and dynamism is the spice of life. So as we go, we have to be working with time to ensure that we are not left behind. And what we have done for so long is that we have been left behind. We have been complaining about our educational system. Of recent, we have been trying to catch up with the digital CBT, computer-based tests. We are trying to catch up with it. Students are complaining that this CBT-based whatever is not provided for them. JAMB was saying this. So many systemic failures, so many technical issues, so many technical glitches that led to students failing. JAM calling out students so that they cannot catch up. Students saying no, it's not their fault. Parents say it's not the fault of some children. Some people saying they cannot. So a whole lot of backwards, thinking. This is not the time we have to be grappling all these issues. This is the time we have to change our content rather, modernize our content. University system, our university system, I'm telling you, it's from the 20th century. You are only lucky to get a good every teacher is a good teacher, but you are only lucky to get the ones that pays attention. You are only lucky to get those kind of lecturers or teachers maybe in the time you were in school. But even some of these lecturers are tired. I mean, we just need to, that's why there needs to be training for even teachers as well, so that they can meet up with time. They can catch up as well as time goes by. You can't carry what you used to teach me when I was in school to teach a child that was born in the computer age. I mean, all of those things. I'm in the middle of the two ages, when computer started and when, all of those things, and you're telling a child that we really need to. And something that stood out here for me is even bringing entrepreneurship, circular economy, and peace building as core topics in school, as core subjects, courses in universities. I think this is a brilliant idea. I did something on peace and conflict, but it was an elective course. For how long did I do it? For one semester. Wasn't even long. You know, that kind of thing. I did entrepreneurship, but it just happened like this. It wasn't practical based. It was just mostly theoretical. The practical aspect of it, they'll just tell you people, gather, go and do this and this. I'm not sure my group got to submit their own. I think we submitted it the day we were going to write the exam, and they just graded it for it. So no keen attention was paid to been paid to some of these things. These are some of the things that is going to help us, stand out in the workforce when we come out from the universities.
While you were speaking, Ba, the only thing I was just trying to look at was, funny enough, Ba, most of the things we learn in schools, we can actually stay out of school and learn it.
Mm-hmm.
I think yesterday we were talking to one of the professors, and he was saying the reasons why most of these students do not believe in school education educational systems again, is because they can just, if I go outside, and I think he was streamlining into agriculture or buying and selling. If I go outside business and learn under my master for 4 years, if I go to school, how many years? I will even learn more than the person that went to school, because I'll be doing the practical and the theory at the same time. Now, our schools, like I said, this is a very good move. This is just going to help Nigeria's educational system. And most of the teachers nowadays, I know now I see the reason why they say teachers are the founders of people's future. The reason why is not the educational curriculum we're looking at again. Is the good teachers. If you are using the same curriculum for how many years and you're getting good students, we have to look at the teachers, because I feel like it's the teachers. If the teachers are people who are already revolved, and most of these teachers, they do not even learn here in Nigeria. They might have gotten their education, they don't even need to go out. They might have gotten their education online outside the country. So they will just involve all those things into the curriculum with their own ideas. So can we go beyond the teachers, like you said, using their ideas to teach these children? Can we see it effective on our curriculum, where students can read the curriculum, understand, and become future leaders without even, the teachers will always be there for us, but without the teachers, can we look at the curriculum and say, yes, we can form future leaders out of these curriculums? We have to look into Nigerians.
Exactly. You said it well. It's about building a generation that thinks. It's about building, let's think of a generation that can think. Let's think of a generation that can build. And you've always spoken about sustainability. Let's think of a generation that can sustain, because if we just go to school and we come out, we don't know what to do with it, then it's a waste. So if we begin to think of a generation that, if after school you can think for yourself, you can build yourself and build your nation, you can also sustain yourself and sustain your nation. I think that's what we should be looking at. And this will be a beautiful world. But I just hope that it is not one-sided. I hope that it is enacted in every other, as well. It reaches every other schools, in different parts of Nigeria as well, in different places. I just hope it does, and not just universities too. They should take it to secondary schools, to take it to the primary level as well. So let's move to the last news. South Africa Minister launches National Science Week, calls for inclusive innovation. South Africa's Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Blade Nzimande, has officially launched the 2025 National Science Week at the Tshwane University of Technology. This year's theme, Science for Everyone, emphasizes inclusivity and early engagement with science. Minister Nzimande announced plans to expand the event into a full science month from next year, noting that a week is no longer enough. He called for stronger partnership between government, industry, and academia to unlock the country's vast talent and innovation potential, highlighting AI and robotics as key drivers of future development. Finalists from Pretoria Technical High School also took part in the launch, expressing excitement about the real-world applications of emerging technologies. The nationwide event runs from August the 4th to the 9th of August, with exhibitions and activities aimed at promoting science and innovation across the country. Finally, we're just talking about
it.
you get something, innovation, bringing new ideas, bringing new things, and now we are turning southwards. We are turning to the southern part of Africa. We're looking at South Africa, where the government is taking this into their own hands. You spoke about policy in the health sector, and now this is what South Africa is doing with this in the educational sector with policy. The government are involved. They are not just talking about innovation. They are also trying to celebrate it and see how they can bring every see how they can make everybody get in tune with innovation, with technology. We are in that time now. Like we always say, we don't have a choice. We have to follow suit. And another thing we always hardly talk about in this part of the world, in Africa, is the recognition that science is not a luxury. We do not like to hear about science in Africa. We do not like to talk about it that much. We feel like it's too complex. But sitting down here, there's something about science going on. There's science in motion, but we don't. We may not know. We may not see it with the naked eyes, but there's science in motion even as we are seated here. So I like the fact that we are taking science now as not just luxury. We are seeing science now as the bedrock of development. Science is very important. It's in every part of our livelihood, whether we like it or not. And this one also resonates deeply with me, especially in the African context. Again, like I said before, where science is still seen as it's an elitist idea. It's always for people with the big brains, the geniuses, people they regard as the geniuses. But no, as simple, like I said, just like what we do on Science on the Street, as simple as your everyday life, how you come to work every day, how you sleep, how you wake up in the morning. There's science in it. There's science in motion, and we have to begin to understand all of these things and see how we can use them in our life practically. And that is what South Africa is doing. And we're seeing this. I think Third Fund too gave out 50 billion naira for research to an institution. I've forgotten the year and the institution. And we know that we've seen Third Fund do that a lot. We've seen Nel Fund doing that with student loans and all of these things. All these things are to help, students, to develop students. And if Nigerians, let me come down to Nigeria, if Nigeria wants to compete compete not like in the negative way. I mean, let's set ourselves up for progress. Let's set ourselves up for, success. If we want to compete in the fourth industrial revolution, I think we must begin to do more. Host science fairs. Yes, like Professor Solomon Waka, that's some of the things he champions. Science. Host science fairs, some of these things, and what he's doing with Idea TV as well. We are trying to bring science to the world. Let's get in tune with science. Let's see science as our own. Let's invest intentionally in STEM. I think it's going to go a long way for African innovation.
Whether we like it or not, we are gradually walking into a generation of technology. Now, why I say this is because
just even science as a whole.
The tech people, every other profession will be using technology, whether you like it or not, even as a business person.
Sure. Even as a business, we're using POS, that's technology.
That's why I said you would have to use
they're using
even as a market
as
woman,
small as your
even as a market woman, you would walk. We are gradually walking into a world where technology is going to be everywhere. So if you're going to be lacking behind, you are going to be losing a lot when it comes to business wise. So it's not this one. We're not saying force. We're not forcing you to buy into the idea. You have to buy into the idea. It's a need. We're not saying you want it. It's a need. It has become a need. The idea or the technology education is now a need in Nigeria, whether we like it or not. And African countries, in fact, the whole world, it is a need. Beyond studying mass communication, beyond studying computer engineering, beyond studying business. I don't think you can mention any and you will not see technology in it. So
all of these are inclusive. They are all in science.
Yes, we must be educated. And I like the fact that this if you notice the team, it said science for everyone.
Everyone.
So everybody is included. They did not focus it on a particular sector or a particular educational background. It's for everyone. Everybody has to buy into it. Everybody has to be taught on science. Everybody has to be taught on technology, and I think Nigeria should actually buy into it.
Yeah, very beautiful and well put, Deborah. But yes, we have to bring an end to the news headline segment. But before we go on the short break to come back with the discussion segment, let's quickly run through the recap of the headlines. Over 90% of Nigerians still uninsured, healthcare providers warn.
Flash flood disrupt Lagos and paralyzes businesses.
And the UK supports Nigeria's varsity curriculum reform. Welcome back from that break. What you've just seen before now is the news headlines, and right about now we want to run you through what we have for today. My favorite segment, like I always like to, say it, the discussion segment is my favorite segment. While you're still watching Idea Morning Digest, and today's show is packed with, how far now we want to, focus on what concerns us the most. So this morning we're going to be talking about something that concerns everybody, me and you, Deborah. It concerns all Nigerian families. It concerns from our parents hustling to pay school fees for us, to, graduates searching for relevance in today's job market. So this morning we are asking, can Nigeria's university finally break free from outdated curricula and start producing graduates who can build, innovate, and lead? That's a question for you to ponder on. And thanks to the recent initiatives, Deborah, of backed by the UK through the British Council, we might just be, we might just be at the turning point. And the pilot curriculum reform introduces entrepreneurship, it introduces peace building and circular economy thinking into Nigerian university programs. And it's more than a touch-up. This is about reimagining the purpose of education itself, reimagining the essence of education. But of course, the big question still remains, will it work? So today we are asking, can curriculum reform rescue Nigeria's future? Let's explore the heart of this matter. So let's dive into it properly. We want to hear from you before we start, digesting it. We want to hear from you, our viewers. Begin to chime in. You can join the conversations by sending in your thoughts to us on all our social media handles at Idea Television. So Deborah, we're talking this morning about education, a very big one, a very, very serious discussion, and we must not, we can't stop talking about it because it seems like our educational system in this part of the world needs some, how will I put it? It needs revitalization. We need to revitalize it. So we saw in the news and that the UK, a Nigerian professor based in the UK, a Nigerian-based UK professor is saying he wants to come out and, collaborate. He's starting with 2 universities in Nigeria, Ekiti State University and Babcock University, and they're going to be giving them a grant or something like that, to change outdated, curricula. So let's put this theory into practice. Let's talk about the current, the problem of our current system. We began to talk about it in the news headline segment. We were saying that our system is too focused on theoretical practices, that's theoretical should I say regurgitation?
Read and pass.
You get, there's no enough practical based learning. I was given an instance with how we were being taught entrepreneurship, and I like that course. It was something when it was introduced. It wasn't introduced earlier enough when I entered school. It was towards when I was already almost graduating. That was when they introduced it. And I was still happy, like, okay, I want to, learn new things and do more with this. I want to see how I can do something around this. And then the new VC that came in at that time began to talk about, and which happened after I left school, and it pained me. He was a very forward-thinking person. So what he did was that after every entrepreneurship course, if you are graduating, you must register a business name. That was what he enforced in the University of Abuja. I'm talking of Professor Naala, as at then he was the VC when I was still in school, but he no longer is. He brought about that very beautiful initiative, and for little to no cost. So, and it pained me, I had already left school before that happened. So every student that was in school at that time, or were graduating at the time he was still there, have a business registered. So it's a beautiful thing. That's some of these things help set us and prepare graduates for the labor market. Which even labor market am I even talking about? Will you even want to look at the labor market? Because you've been taught a whole lot of things. You now have some of the things that can hinder you, from setting yourself up, from, finding something that you can earn from. You can just think of, okay, let me start a business and I have a business name. Not like I'm saying anyhow, but this shows that you have been guided in school, you have been taught, and then they have prepared you. Because there's something we do. We can teach people, but we do not prepare them. We do not give them those tools that will help them in the outside world. So what that instance I have given means is that they prepared these students inside the school and still gave them the tool that will help them thrive in the outside world. So it's a beautiful thing. That's what we are trying to talk about here, Deborah. So what do you think what is the problem with our current system?
I made a statement when you were talking. The problem for me, I see it as read and pass exam. Most of our schools
system
now
that rewards memorization.
Just read and pass exam and leave. And that's why we see most students, the reason why they pursue education when in school, educational certificate.
Yes, rewards.
Because of they know that at least they just need it. And most of them don't even use it. Can we come into an age where we go to school, we read not just to pass exams, but we learn, they teach us, we read to be able to use it in the labor market.
Exactly.
Beyond the certificate, can we literally look at our
a system that will prepare us not to be employers?
An engineering student and say, yes, this person can actually work, can actually do anything. Can we look, like you said, the business students, can we look at them and say, yes, they can actually work into the business segment and all of that?
There's even the business side of everything, as I like to look at it. Even if I studied mathematics, I really think there's the business side of everything. I really think there's the business side of mathematics too. So understanding what to do with the knowledge you have been taught is another thing. And are you even being taught in that line? So just like you said, we want a system, we want an educational system that will not just be rewarding memorization. It will be rewarding our curiosity.
What you've done.
Because these days it's like people that want to know, people that are, like they call them bookworm, or it's as if you are being stigmatized somehow. You have been, I don't know, you are being it's as if you are even shy these days to act like you know it, to act like you are intelligent. People are shy these days because it seems like those who are even intelligent these days are not cool, are not the cool guys. Yes, it's happening right now, especially with now that the advent of social media and all of these things. You see a system that rewards people that are making money. They don't even want to look at any other thing. But let's think of a system that will also reward those that, actually know, actually, studies and still come out and, use what they have to get what they want. When I mean what you have to get, what you have here to get what you want. Let's begin to produce employers, like I like to say it, not just
people who are looking for jobs.
Let's stop producing rather just employers. Let's begin to produce entrepreneurs. This is the time for us. Let's begin to think further. And now we have we've been talking about so many outdated curriculums, The average Nigerian university, like you said, teaches with syllabus that was last updated. I gave an example in the news segment that is as old as, is dated as far back as, it was last updated as far back as the 1980s. Yes. Or let's just say the early 2000s. I was even in a facilitation in a class organized by an NGO, and I was so even sad. I was sad somehow to see that I look at NGO with a bigger eye, and they are still using, an outdated learning aid, a learning material for us. And I was looking at it. I had to approach one of the facilitators and tell her, how can we work to, build a new discourse material, a new teaching material? How can we do it? How can we work to build new ones? You can get all of us, maybe test us who can write, who cannot write, put all of us in the house. Let's work for like 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month to come up with new learning materials. Some of these things will help. One thing we even fail to do is to even work with, teach the learners how they want to learn. You have to understand how the people of this time think, so you know how to, remodel materials for learning. So I think we have to do a whole lot of things with this. Imagine training students in marketing without including digital tools, just like you've stressed on the other time. Or in journalism without any social media literacy, any media or communications literacy. It's like you just, I don't know, it's going to be of no relevance to the society at the end of the day. So you want to say something?
The funny thing is that even our parents, let's even leave curriculums. Our parents nowadays, the way we train children of these days is not the same way their parents trained them. You can't use it, because if you use it for these days children, you would end up failing when it comes to parenthood. And if psychologically they've been able to pinpoint that, why can't we do that when it comes to educational system? What you used to teach my father in school, you can't teach me now with it, because it's just like going back. I should know all those things, and I should be moving forward. You know the funny thing about these curriculums, let's look at the textbooks. The textbooks, you will see, they will change the fronts. Yes, like my primary school textbook, when I looked at the one my sister, my firstborn, used, if we looked at the front, it was different. So I actually used to think it was different, but when she now decided to teach, when she wanted to teach me, when she opened it and started looking at, she was like, these are, I know all these things now, they've taught me, this particular, this one, so.
And even if we are going to be taught,
we're just changing the cover.
The same thing, so we don't lose out on some specifics, but in new ways.
The funny thing is that we cannot lose out. We cannot lose out on. There will always be, because it's just like you're refurnishing what was. It's not like it's a new thing. Technology is not really too new. It is something that graduated from what it was to what it can be. It keeps graduating from what it was to what it can be. So we want to see curriculums also graduate from what it was to what it can be, If we are creating future leaders, we cannot use past curriculums to create future.
This just brought something to my mind, because I'm carrying out a study currently, and it's about oral and written traditions.
Okay.
Yes, and how they are going to, oral and written traditions, how they are going to be used to, or how they are still used to preserve African tradition or African cultural heritage. And the case study is the Anang people of Akwa Ibom State. But then, when I was carrying out this study, I'm still on it, I just notice a lot of things. These are things we do not really know. We complain about STEM in Nigeria, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. That is not being looked. I said it earlier on that we do not pay attention, especially in Africa and this part of the world, Nigeria too. We think it's just for people that are geniuses, smart, and all that. But then arts and humanities is suffering too, because there lies in our what do they call it? Our cultural relevance.
Yes.
Our cultural identity too. If we lose some of this or fail to include some of these our traditional beliefs, our oral literature, into our contemporary African voice, now we'll lose out on so many things.
Yes.
That's why I'm saying, I am not saying we shouldn't do with what has been.
No.
But we should find new ways of including what has been to fit our reality now. We shouldn't disconnect. So that's why I say what the UK are doing, this backed pilot reform, is very, very beautiful, and it's timely, and it's, how should I put it? It's potentially transformative, if I should put it that way. This is what we like to see, Deborah. Let's talk about entrepreneurship in education. Very, very wonderful. I like to see, we champion entrepreneurship here, and it's something we like to talk about here. It's not something we just like to talk about. We like to advocate for it. We like to enforce it. We like to put it in the minds of people. The reform in entrepreneurship education is very good. It's not just, this time it's not just about, motivations. You can do it, perspire to aspire. Not like that is not motivational enough or good, but perspire to aspire. But this one is saying outrightly, we are teaching you to know how to start a business when you come out, or know what you are going to do with what you already have. Like you said, it's one thing to have a skill, but it's another thing to build that skill. It's another thing to, enhance that skill, shape it to what you can do. Because you may know how to make braid hair, but you may not know how to monetize it.
True.
That's where even entrepreneurship is a very wide topic. It's not even just about knowing how to monetize it. Do you understand financial management? And some of these things are going to be taught. So if we can take what do they call it, entrepreneurship as not just a course of study, like an elective. Elective are those courses you just do on the side every year. You can even choose to either do it or not even do it. But if we can take it as something we will even do maybe every semester. I think if we can make it, we can even make it. I think people study entrepreneurship now, I know, in universities, but it's not loud. It's not being talked about enough. But we need to begin to see how we can equip students with this with this literacy, with entrepreneurship, with market research skills, with product design thinking, with business modeling ideas, with innovative ideas. Deborah.
When you mention entrepreneurship, most people think it's all this barbing, making of hair, cooking, baking.
It is.
Alone.
Yes.
Alone. They think it's that alone. But when you were talking, I just started seeing so many things you were saying. Do you know that most of the things the professions we have can actually, they are entrepreneurship.
Exactly.
They can be enterprised. Someone like a doctor can actually have a side business like a chemist. Someone who read mass communication can come out and also, yes, use their certificate to get work, but still have side hustles like online. I want to remember this. They kept saying it yesterday. The person kept mentioning it yesterday. This I've forgotten. Blogging.
Yeah, okay.
Online. People who studied writing, English, can come out and become writers. Apart from working, thank you. Apart from working in an organization or using your certificate. Now, practically, can you put it into entrepreneurship? Now, I feel like we should reach a standard in Nigeria where if the government can look into every of the curriculums and every part of education and see what entrepreneurship can do.
I think earlier this year they were saying they want to include vocational studies or something.
Like beyond the barbing, because most of the time when we mention entrepreneurship, people are just always thinking you can be a nurse and still be a barber. People always think out of. Can we think into what
when you even said English, doing? I remember. I know when I tell people I'm studying English as at then, they'll be like, "What are you going to do with that?" Yes. I remember I went to the hospital one time with my mom, and my mother was telling the person she met there, she was an old neighbor, that she was like, "Oh, Cynthia, how are you?" and blah blah blah. What are you studying? And like, English. I was like, she laughed. What do you want to do with English? And I was like, this is something I am passionate about. I know it all started out as, that's because we were trained in one way. I started out wanting to be a lawyer. I think most people that studied English or mass communication started out wanting to be a lawyer.
No, I wanted to be a doctor.
I wanted to be a lawyer. But the lawyer is not like, then when I entered, thank God I even went through different stages of schooling. Yeah. I didn't just go to the university like that. I started with a diploma. So when I went there, I wanted to do diploma in law. I was not giving diploma in law. I was giving diploma in communication and reports writing. And that was under the English department. And I was like, why would they give me this? But then I enjoyed it, and there's no turning back until now. Yes. I enjoyed everything. It was God that even gave me. I won't be sentimental a little. I was like, okay. And now I don't want to go. They were like, okay, everybody that had this idea, initial thought of becoming a lawyer before, must always go back to it. But it has never crossed my mind to go and, still study law. I enjoy what I'm doing with the knowledge I have today. So I think we must begin to see beyond the whole of this. You get our traditional conservative beliefs and ideas and that restrains us. Instead, we should look at the bigger picture. Look at what we can do with all of the possibilities, all of the potential that lies within us. I think it's going to do a whole lot more for us. And there's this one about circular economy, teaching people sustainability. Like Deborah will always like to emphasize sustainability from the ground up. This is one of the boldest components of reform, because whether we talk from how everything can be initiated, can be planned, can be strategized, at the end of the day, if we cannot sustain it, then there lies in the problem. We will always fall back. And so many things can take us back. For the first time, I like this idea, because for the first time, students will be taught on how to think about production. They will be taught on how to think about consumption. They will be taught about how to think about waste management, about so many things. When I mean, I don't even mean in the recycled, in the climate aspect of it. I'm talking in every aspect of life. We'll be taught in different sustainable ways how to manage things. These things have been in the Western world, so it has been practiced in the Western world. What if we bring them down here? We go to all these foreign countries and we are happy with what is going on there and we like it, we want to remain there. But if these things are being done in our country, we wouldn't want to just go there and not want to come back. We'll go there for collaborations, for partnerships and whatnot. You just want to explore, or even if you want to stay there, it's for different purposes, not from that mentality of somewhere is better than where I am coming from. So I think in fact, traditional Nigerian societies have practiced this element of circular economy for ages now. We've been reusing materials. We've been recycling. We've been doing communal farming. We've been recycling organic waste. But we do not, these days, I think this generation, we do not know that we have been practicing this for a long time. I was watching somebody's vlog, and she was talking about, we had somebody on the show, Rifka too. She's an environmentalist. And she was talking about how this is a long age practice that we don't know. We know those times, we know when we buy Milo and the Milo finishes, we don't throw them away. We instead use them to store money. We instead use them to store things. We don't throw away some of these things. We use them to store salt, Maggi cubes, all of these things. So, seasoning cubes rather. We use them to store some of these things. Those are recycling. Those are, So I'm happy that we are going to be practicalizing this. But like we always say, we want to see this come into, real practice. It shouldn't just be signed on papers and then this talk ends. Yes, then peace building will be coming back to school, Deborah.
The only thing I want to say to all of this that we have said is, looking at what happened with our WAEC results just shows, our last WAEC result that they wrote, just shows how backwards Nigerians are, even beyond Africa.
Yes.
Even in Africa, Nigerians are backward when it comes to our educational system. Can our government really pay attention
Yes.
to our educational system? Can we move from the Stone Age into the technology age? Can our educational curriculums move? Can our teachers also come and move with giving us the knowledge? Can the practicality also move into this technology age? Can we look at a student coming out from a school and, yes, beat our chest and say, this is the future of tomorrow?
Exactly.
That's what we want.
Very, very important that you've talked about government policy. Very important. All these things will be dead on arrival if government fails to support this kind of initiative. If
Yes.
governments fail to back it up with legislations and monitor it, and like you said before, enforce it. But this brings us to the close of today's Idea Morning Digest. So I want to ask you this question again. Can curriculum reform rescue Nigeria's future? Well, from my own end, I'll say it can, but only if it is embraced nationwide. Like I said before, if it is funded adequately and driven with a long-term vision. So we want to hear from you. We want to hear what you think. What do you think about this UK-backed curriculum reform? Will it make our graduates more employable, or is it just another foreign-funded experiment? Join the conversations online and tag us at Idea Television on X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Your thoughts might just be featured on tomorrow's show. That's it from us here this morning on Idea TV, and thank you for spending your time with us. And we say bye for now.